What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the 10-7 MMA show. And we got the other 10-7 MMA channel as well. We're going to do a 10-7, 10-7 collab one more time. By the way, I'm in Missoula, Montana right now, and Justin is on his way here. So that's why he can't be here today. He's flying as we speak. He's landing in about 45 minutes. So we are going to chop it up. Holy smokes. MMA, the world of combat sports has gone absolutely bananas this week. So there's just so much to talk about. I hope we can get through everything. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. Dino, wait, is it you wrote Bam Bam? Do you go by Bam Bam?
Yeah, so I go by Bam Bam. The other one goes by DS, but we're both Dino.
Okay, got you. All right, so Bam Bam is here back again. So this is really, really cool. We're going to chop it up. Mr. Clapper says, happy Friday, everyone. Oh, Western says start over. There were ads. Okay, well, anyways, welcome to the show, everybody. I didn't even know that there were ads on the live stream. Apologize. But the point is we are back and happy Friday, and we got amazing stuff to talk about. So many moving pieces, and I'm actually really excited to hear Bam Bam's take on so many of the pieces of news that have come out today. Western saying, first of all, is Ngannou coming back to the UFC? We'll hear Bam Bam's take. I mean, I highly doubt it, but it's possible. But let's start with news number one, which I think is bigger than UFC 326. Maybe not as big as the White House announcement. Let's start with at the top. Tom Aspinall signs with Eddie Hearn. I've been listening to everything about this. So Bam Bam, take it away. Like, give me your first thoughts on this crazy, crazy development.
Huzefa, you actually messaged me when this news dropped, and you were like, I need to hear your take on this. Look, man, I think, I've been kind of outspoken on the Tom Aspinall situation. I know it's not the popular viewpoint from a fan's perspective. I'm kind of on the MMA Joey side. I know MMA Joey is a guy that, gets hated on, and he's the contrarian of everything, but I'm on his side, man. I thought the Tom Aspinall situation was fishy from the beginning. The moment it happened, I felt like he wasn't going to fight. Of course, he didn't end up fighting. The eye poke turned out to be worse than we assumed it was, or that's what they say. I call BS on the whole story thing, the whole story with Tom Aspinall. I think he's lying. I think this signing with Eddie Hearn is a big FU to the UFC. I also think, Huzefa, that it goes along with everything I've been saying. He wants out, man. He wants out. And what better way to get out than signing with the guy that Dana just screwed over? This is turning into WWE. This is like Eric Bischoff and Vince McMahon.
Dude, this sport, I was saying this the other day, and it's actually funny. There's another YouTuber who does MMA stuff, and I'm playing Fight Society. He said the same thing. He's like, I was saying this exactly, and he said it in one of his videos. Like, what is this sport that we watch? Like, there's nothing like it. There's nowhere there this many moving pieces in any other sport, and that's why we love it. But okay, there's a lot of stuff to break down here, and I actually listen to a lot of MMA Joey stuff, and I think he's got a lot of really smart takes on this topic in particular, but also on other topics as well. I don't know if I would go so extreme into saying like where Joey is really calling a lot of BS, but I do think some things have been exaggerated. I did a breakdown of that Korean doctor that came out and said that Tom Aspinall was straight up lying. That guy's actually I did a whole breakdown of who that doctor is. He's a legitimate doctor. He's part of a private practice. He is I think the managing director of that practice. And what he said made a lot of sense. So would I goes as far to say as he's lied about stuff? I don't know, but I think he's definitely exaggerated things. He's made things appear to be more severe than they are. And hey, I hope I'm wrong. Okay. Like, I don't know Tom. I don't know people in his circle, but there's just a lot of things that are bizarre. But okay, let's come back to this Eddie Hearn thing, because the timing is also very interesting. The timing of this, if you listen to Eddie Hearn, what happened is they had their first ever meeting or their first ever call. I can't remember which, on Wednesday of this week. The way it came about was Eddie Hearn heard from another fighter, because I just listened to Eddie Hearn say this. Eddie Hearn heard from another fighter that Tom Aspinall was down in the dumps. Now, my first question is, why was he down in the dumps? Like, I know he's been having a hard time in general, but I have a theory that he caught wind, or he had a conversation with the UFC where they asked him to potentially vacate the title, because I've said from the get-go, I was like, there is no way. I don't think there's any way that they're going to have the crowning highlight fight on the White House card be for an interim title. So I think they either asked him to vacate or told him they were going to be stripping him of the title because there's no timeline for his return. That's why I think he was down in the dumps. And that's why he said, all right, game on. Now it's war. Now my option is I'm going to go to Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn called him. They set up the meeting, and this is unfolded. Do you think that I'm onto something? Do you think that they're also planning to strip him?
Yeah, I'm 1,000% with you. Like, I don't have anything to add. You're right. You are right.
So
I'm sorry, Josefa. Not only do like I'm confident that you're right.
yeah. So that's what I thought too. It's really bizarre because like I listen a lot to Ariel Helwani's channel and a lot of the guys on there, and they've been saying for the longest time, they're like, it's going to be an interim title. But I think they're skewed by the fact that they like deeply align with Tom Aspinall. I think that they don't want to say that it's going to be or they don't want to believe that it's going to be for an undisputed, they're going to strip Tom because they just don't want to put that out there. That's what I think. But I think it's if you just look, like, how could they make the biggest event of all time for an interim title at the crowning achievement where John Jones is returning once and for like, it just doesn't make sense. So that's what I think. It's very wild. Now, I have another question for you. Tom Aspinall, this is the one that I'm really curious about. Tom Aspinall signing with Eddie Hearn at this moment, right when Dana White called him the P word, is going after him, say he's beating up babies, he's taking away Conor Benn. So now this is Eddie Hearn's way to get back at Dana White. Very interesting. I would have never guessed this. Okay. So it's just such fascinating theater. But do you think this was a smart play by Tom Aspinall, or do you think ultimately this is a terrible play that's going to devastate his career?
Good question. Real quick, I want to touch on something that you said right before that. With the Ariel Helwani thing, again, I got to agree with you. I mean, Ariel Helwani, with all due respect, he is probably the best in this space, right? Like when he does MMA media, he's the best at it. He's a real journalist. He's got a degree. He's been covering the sport forever. He gets the scoop. He's got connections with everybody. But it's weird to me because there are a few fighters, and Tom Aspinall is one of them, that this guy completely glazes. So whatever Tom Aspinall says, like, Helwani's going with that narrative. If you remember, when he got the title fight, this guy got up as a grown man on his show, walked up to the camera and started singing Tommy Aspinall. It's like, dude, like, come on. Like, your bias is showing, Ariel. But going back to what you're saying, is it smart? Is it dumb? Look, I think in the grand scheme of things, it's smart in one way and dumb in another. Tom Aspinall, I think his intentions are very clear. He doesn't really care about the UFC. He doesn't care about MMA. His father was caught saying that, and that kind of like hidden camera. It wasn't a hidden camera. It was just rolling when it shouldn't have been. But they said they want boxing, and I get it, man. That's where the money is. And if you're able to do that, like, who are we to tell you to not do it? Go make your bread. But I don't think he cares about the UFC. I think now he thinks the UFC is kind of treating him shitty. So this is his way of getting back at them. Is it dumb for Tom Aspinall in another way? Absolutely, because the UFC is now going to be dealing with Eddie Hearn as opposed to Tom Aspinall's dad for getting Tom Aspinall fights. And the UFC doesn't have to play ball. This is their game. They control everything. They control the belt. It's theirs. It's not Tom Aspinall's, right? So they'll choose what to do with it. They can give Tom crappy fights. They can not offer him fights. They can do whatever they want, make him ride out the sunset clause. Remember, they did this with Francis Ngannou, and Francis Ngannou was like willing to fight. Tom Aspinall seems like he's not willing to fight. So I think if Tom Aspinall ever goes boxing, he's going to go in as not the UFC champion. He's going to go in maybe 2 years down the line from now. They're going to make life hell for Tom Aspinall.
Okay, so I want to get into what you just said about the sunset clause. First, let me read a couple of comments. Thank you, everybody, for joining, by the way. Awesome that you guys are all here nice and early. Mr. Clapper says, MMA Joey and Luke Thomas bring politics way too much into their show. It's clown-worthy. Luke Thomas does. I actually don't think MMA Joey does, but fair. I get it if that's what you think. Josefa, you must stop watching MMA Joey. Dude, I get it. Like, I've talked a lot to MMA Joey, and I know people can have their opinions about him, but he's actually helped us with our channel, and he has some really good takes that other people don't have. So I don't know. I'm a fan, but I get it if you're not a fan. What up, boys? Happy Friday. What's up, Tehran? Big fight tomorrow. I know. Let's go. Hey, Tehran. Max is going to take a nap. Whoa, I think we got Tehran and Western picking Charles Oliveira. Very, very, very fun fight. Mr. Clapper says, what's up, Tehran? And the MMA on the mind. Who is MMA Joey? You haven't seen MMA Joey? Just Google him. And yeah, he's a growing YouTuber. He's got about 45,000 subs. And like I said, I like his content. Maybe he's not for everybody, but it is what it is. Okay, so let's talk about the sunset clause. So I read a entire, I think it was an article or actually like a research paper talking about the contract structure, and I believe they changed the sunset clause around 2021 or 2022 when Francis Ngannou signed his contract and was able to escape via the sunset clause. It used to be that the sunset clause began 5 years from the signage of the contract. It's actually changed now. They changed the structure to be 5 years from the first fight on that contract. So, for example, Conor McGregor is said to have 2 fights left on, I think, a brand new contract. His sunset clause, therefore, I believe, hasn't even activated because he didn't take that fight against Chandler. So we talk about Tom Aspinall. He previously said he had 3 fights on his contract. It was that a new contract? I don't know, but I think it was. So I think it activated when he fought Cyril Gane. So now he's got a little under 5 years to go. But then I believe the UFC, and correct me if I'm wrong, Bam Bam, I believe the UFC has to offer Tom at least like 3 fights a year. Now, of course, they could probably offer like insane matchups that Tom would like 100% refuse. I'm sure they could play some games there. But first of all, my question to you is, with everything we know, let's say the 5-year sunset clause has now been activated and they can do what they can do within those 3 fights. Like, do you foresee a possibility where they're literally going to keep him locked into the UFC for better or for worse for the next 5 years?
Yeah, I almost guarantee it, to be honest with you, unless it turns out to be, like messier than the UFC wants from a PR standpoint, unless Paramount is, really adamant about doing something about it. That might be the only way out. We know how the UFC plays ball, right? At the end of the day, again, I know people, like, we watch for the fighters, we watch for the fights, but at the end of the day, it's a business. The UFC is going to do what's best for them. And if there's one thing we've learned about Dana White, he's a great businessman. He does the right thing financially for the company. But if you get on his bad side, Dana White holds grudges. So if him and Tom Aspinall are not getting along, and Tom Aspinall is not just threatening the UFC by leaving, a lot of people leave. Tom Aspinall is threatening a lot more. He's threatening to leave as the UFC champion, right? Because even if they strip him, he's still going to claim, I'm the baddest man on the planet. I'm the undefeated champion. I'm the, lineal champion, whatever it is. And the UFC title forever for the heavyweight division has been known as the baddest man on the planet. So until somebody defeats him, he kind of holds that moniker, right? Again, they did it with Ngannou. I don't see why they wouldn't do it with Tom Aspinall. In my mind, he's a smaller star than Francis Ngannou is.
Yes, for sure.
He's less threatening in terms of like his physique, his fight style, his highlights. So to me, Tom Aspinall is kind of a nobody. I know that's a hot take, but I think the UFC is really going to like screw him over on this. By the way, Huzefa, the fight offers, they do have to offer 3 fights a year, generally speaking, in most of the contracts. But that doesn't mean that they can't offer all 3 of them for this year, 1 in May and then 1 in June.
That's what I thought. Okay, because I thought there was some like finagling that they could do, like, hey, your eyes still, like, maybe they already offered him 3 fights, right? Like for the year and met their contractual obligation. I was thinking about that. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So yeah, and it's funny. Eddie Hearn was asked or mentioned this at the presser. He's like, Tom asked him, he's like, hey, am I just a pawn in your war between Dana White and you? And he said, you kind of are, but like, he's like, what better time to come in and work with me right now where we can make a lot of noise? So the thing that's interesting here is Eddie Hearn truly acting in Tom's best interest? Maybe like 80%, maybe 70%. I don't know. But there is a very high possibility, like you mentioned, that this is completely screwing over Tom Aspinall's career. Another thing that Ariel said on his show is the UFC, there's certain managers that they won't negotiate with. Yeah. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's like, Eddie Hearn, we don't want to listen to you. Either Tom, you step in solo with your dad, or we're not doing business. We're not negotiating, and could completely come to a standstill. This is absolutely crazy. Absolutely unprecedented. And I don't know. I would have never saw this when Dana White went on the offensive with Conor Benn. I would have never thought that Eddie Hearn would take this route. But all I can say is I'm very eager to see how the cards unfold, or how the cards fall. One other thing too that Eddie Hearn said, I want to know if you think this is real. Eddie Hearn says after this was announced yesterday or 2 days ago before the presser, that he's had a dozen UFC fighters reach out to him and also want to explore working with Eddie Hearn's management company. Do you think that's true?
I think it's possible, right? There's a lot of English fighters. There's a lot of UK fighters on the roster. I think it's possible, but I think it's a moot point at the end of the day, right? Because the conversation, like really what this is all about is fighter pay, right? At the end of the day, like the root of all of this is fighter pay. The UFC is going to pay you what they want to pay you. Like there are no other options really. Like as a fighter from the UK, what are you going to do? Go fight in KSW, fight in Cage Warriors? Like Cage Warriors is a B league. You know what I mean? In America, what are you going to do? You're going to go fight for PFL? I love PFL. I'm going next month. You mentioned Wyatt from Fight Society. We're probably going to be linking up in Chicago for that card.
Oh, cool.
But regardless, Huzefa, like what is the PFL at this point? It's trash. It's a B league, man. And so really, like, the UFC is going to pay you what they want to pay you. The reason boxing can afford to pay these people is because there's so many promotions that are seen as equal. MMA doesn't have that issue right now. So the UFC holds all the cards.
Yeah, and the thing that I thought that the stick that Eddie Hearn has, or I thought, but then, you mentioned the sunset clause, you mentioned keeping Tom Aspinall on ice for the next 4 or 5 years. That's going to be a massively diminished stick. But the thing that I worry, the reason why I don't think the UFC would cut Tom now that he's partnered with Eddie, is the easiest thing that Eddie can do to kind of jab at the UFC is like, okay, cut him. Cool. I'm going to get him a boxing match. We're going to pay him double what the UFC ever paid him, and then just make the UFC look terrible. Yeah. And I think that's why I think this is a really bad play. That's my opinion. I feel like it's going to work out really poorly. The UFC is going to take it out on Tom. Dana White's acting like, no, it's all good. No big deal. You can work with whoever. But I think in reality, just like they do with everybody else who tries to go up against him or take some of the shine, they're going to try and smash him. That's what
Josefa, one thing I want to add on to that. Think about this, right? When it came to Francis Ngannou, the UFC did what they did to him. He ended up getting a boxing match. And you can say it worked for Francis Ngannou or it didn't, but I think financially it ended up working out for him. He got a fight with Tyson Fury, and he got $10 million. Now, that's a lot for UFC standards. It's not a lot for being an opponent of Tyson Fury. And that's Francis Ngannou. That's not, Tom Aspinall. So what is Tom Aspinall going to make? Like, you're losing money if you're paying Tom Aspinall more than $5, $6, $7 million. I just don't get it, man. Like, I get it from his perspective. He wants the money. By all means, go get it. But you're going to go through hell to make $7 million. You're probably going to lose that fight, and then you are nobody at that point.
Yeah,
nobody.
The only thing I was thinking was maybe Eddie Hearn's going to try really hard again to stick it to the UFC to try and give Tom like a super favorable matchup, and then bust his salary high, make his salary really high just to spite the UFC, and then maybe it could work out for Tom. But like,
but boxing fans won't buy that shit, Josefa. You know what I mean? Like you gotta figure that it's a different crowd. There's some crossover from boxing and MMA, but the boxing crowd, like, they know who's legit. So Tom Aspinall versus some random schmo is not going to sell anything. You need to have Tom Aspinall in there as the UFC champion versus an Usyk, versus a Fury, versus an AJ. And then that's when it's sort of, like, it sort of counts. But even then, boxing fans think it's an exhibition match. They know their guy's going to win.
Yeah, and their guy is going to win. That's what we've seen over and over. I think the Francis Ngannou performance against Tyson Fury was a total fluke. I think a lot of people said that Tyson Fury was barely training. And it means Tyson still won ultimately. But then look what happened with AJ. So I think that's going to happen to Tom Aspinall. Yeah, it's just very weird, but very, very intriguing and very interesting nonetheless. We've never seen anything like this before. I'm going to read through a couple of comments here. Mr. Clapper says he signed Tom, talking about Eddie Hearn. He signed Tom 100% out of spite. I think it's a horrible move too. Yeah, I agree with you. MGAL4 Productions back in the house. What's up? What's up? PFL is a C league at best. Yeah. You can't even, I don't even think, I kind of agree. Like, it's not even a secondary league. You know what I mean? I think that makes sense. Managers in MMA manage fighter pay and endorsements outside the cage. They have no say in fighter pay. The UFC has a set formula for pay. It's take it or leave it. Tom is going to get effed on this. I think so too. You guys might not agree, but a lot of this fighter pay stuff could have been avoided if the UFC never took away sponsorship shorts. The fighters got paid pretty good money during that time. No, I don't disagree with that. I could see that definitely hampering things. AJF is back in the house. Aspinall thinks he's a bigger name than he actually is. I think you're right. Bam Bam, do you agree with that?
$1,000,000%. $1,000,000%.
I think that this began with the whole John Jones thing because he started getting like a whole cheerleading section when he was going after John Jones. A lot of the people that are down on John Jones were like getting behind Tom Aspinall, but now as that has faded away, and then you have the eye poke, and then you have the backing out, and then you have like you said, a lot of people are kind of like, dude, you're kind of exaggerating. Like, it's just a super weird series of events, and now his stock is kind of plummeted. I don't see people like pining to want him to come back and fight. Tehran, at least the stars get custom shorts, though. That is true, but no sponsorship money. And then Western, they don't get paid off. Yeah. I think Western was kind of.
They do. They do get paid off those. They get like a commission for the ones that get sold.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. I didn't know that. Okay. Well, there you go. Wait. So Tehran, I figured Western, you were laughing about that, but okay. I didn't know they got a commission, so that's good. I don't know how much it is or how much they get, but. Okay, wild stuff, and we're gonna see some more moving pieces. Obviously, tomorrow when they ultimate. I'm very happy to hear that Bam Bam agrees with me about them stripping Tom Aspinall, because I've been saying that for the longest time, and I'm like, how is everybody on Ariel's channel saying that's going to be an interim? But yeah, it just must be from the Glaze and from the relationship.
I mean, you remember they wrote the article about him, right?
Yeah. Pete Carroll wrote that article. Okay, now we got another piece of, I mean, like, just crazy amounts of news all about heavyweights. Talking about the PFL, guess who was released today from the PFL? Francis Ngannou. Bam Bam, let me just turn it over to you and get your thoughts. And I want to, like, yeah, what do you know about this, and what did you hear about this leading up to this week?
Yeah, first of all, shout out in the chat, No Bromo MMA. Love that guy. He's an absolute stud. He's saying 10-7ception. So guys, check out No Bromo. He's super entertaining. Anyways, yeah, what do I think about it? Look, man, I think the same thing I thought towards the beginning of the Francis Ngannou situation, right? He went out there, he made his money, Huzefa, and that's, at the end of the day, that's what it's about, man. He's an aging star. He's super scary. He's amongst the scariest fighters we've ever seen in the UFC. I'm happy for him. He's been through a lot of crap in his life, especially lately, the loss of his son and all that stuff. I'm happy Francis Ngannou got a bag. I don't really care to see Francis Ngannou in the cage anymore, especially if it is in PFL. Like, who cares, man? He faced Renan Ferreira last time out. Like, who's Renan Ferreira at the end of the day, right? There's no competition for him there. Francis Ngannou at this point is just the best of the rest. He might still be the best heavyweight on the planet. We don't know, but we're never going to find out, right? Because we will never see Francis Ngannou in the UFC again. When Dana holds grudges, Dana holds grudges. That guy's not coming back. The heavyweight division's already in a state of limbo with Tom and Francis leaving, with John wanting to come back, with Pereira wanting to go up. The UFC's trying to push Josh Hokett. They're trying to get Gable Steveson in there. So, like, there's a lot of moving parts. I think it's done for Francis. We might see a one-off boxing fight, maybe a one-off MMA fight on Netflix, maybe, right? If they want to do that. But yeah, that's really all I got on Francis.
We might have a Francis versus Jake Paul. He said he would be interested in that fight, depending on how the fight went with AJ. That could be something, I suppose. And I don't know if Jake Paul wants to get in there once again with another giant and get smashed like that, but that's possible. Yeah, Toronto's saying Francis, he should go sign with Misfits Boxing. Yeah, cause I just don't feel like he's gonna straight up retire right now. I mean, I know you said he's aging, but he's 39 for heavyweights. That's still usually where they're still fighting, but I bet you he can make a bunch of money if he did do something with Jake Paul or something big on Netflix. So I guess we'll see. MMA, I'm going to read a couple comments here. Fighters have come out and said their commission of video games and fight kits are only a couple $100. Whoa. I did not hear that. Tehran said that's why Rampage left the UFC 11 years ago after they took away sponsorship sorts. Navarro says, I also agree Tom should probably be stripped, and I'm a Brit. Yeah, look, I mean, I am not saying that, okay, and I think, Bam Bam, you probably agree with me. I'm not saying that because I hate Tom Aspinall or I think he's a bad champion or whatever it is. Like, I'm saying I'm trying to, and again, like, I think Ariel's team is probably saying that he won't get stripped or imagining that he won't get stripped because they love Tom, right? I'm just trying to get into the mindset of the UFC and how does it make sense? Maybe I'll be proven wrong tomorrow, but how does it make sense that you're putting on the biggest event of all time? You're spending $60 million to 3x what you spent at Sphere to put on this monumental event, 250th anniversary, and you're slapping an interim title at the top. Come on. Like, it's just not logical to me that you would do that to the brand and to this magnificent, like, incredible event that we're all so excited about. So that's why I think they're going to strip Tom. I'm not saying they should. I'm not saying they shouldn't, but I think it's reasonable given that Tom does not have a timeline by his own admission of when he's coming back. They do this on repeat. So yeah, I think it makes sense. And you know what they could do too? They could sign John Jones, which I bet you they're going to do. They're going to sign John Jones to a 2-fight contract, and maybe make the second fight a much bigger payday to incentivize him if he does stay on to ultimately, like, fight Tom Aspinall. That's a 2-for-1 that the UFC is
not
getting.
happening, Huzefa.
Oh no.
No, I think the 2-fight deal, I think you're right on with that. I think that would be more so just to control John Jones in case he does want to fight again. Yep. So he can't fight anywhere else. John Jones is not fighting Tom Aspinall. Like, call him a duck, all that stuff. I get it. He does not want to fight Tom Aspinall, whether it's because he's ducking or whether it's because what he says, which is, I just don't like the guy. That fight's not happening. John is not risking his legacy. He is not risking his undefeated record to give Tom Aspinall the thing that he wants, and he doesn't want to give him that chance. And I think at this point, the UFC is not going to give Tom Aspinall that chance. You didn't play ball. Yes, we put you in a bad situation, but you ended up kind of screwing us over. So he's not getting any favors anymore.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Yeah, you're right. They're not going to set him up now with some like mega fight at this point. I don't know how this is going to unfold. This is so wild. Okay, Francis, let me read a few more comments. Francis goes sign with Misfits. Oh, we read that one already. I don't think Francis would even want to come back to the UFC. Yeah, probably not at this point. He's probably made so much money. He's good. Francis and PKSC. Oh my God. Imagine those fists just smashing somebody. That I'd be down to see that, but I doubt he wants to do it. I'd like to see Francis and BKFC. I mean, I wouldn't mind it. Ngannou versus Andrei Arlovsky. Meat Rocket in the mix. What's up, Meat Rocket? That's a great name. He says, what's up, no bromo? I believe John Jones can beat Tom. I said that from the get-go. I think John Jones would have beaten Tom too. Or I mean, I think it'd be close, but I was picking John Jones all day in that fight. I don't think Tom should be stripped. Definitely should be an interim champ, though. Okay, listen. Let me ask you this, AJ. Are you saying that from a meritocracy standpoint, like in an ideal world, you don't want him to be stripped? Or do you believe that he won't be stripped by the UFC? That's the question. So let me know if you can respond back in the chat, your answer to that. Mr. Clapper says, I think Jones could beat Tom as well, 100%. I think Dana will forgive Francis. Yo, Meat Rocky, you're trolling.
Maybe we get him in Zuffa boxing. He's
yeah. Let's see if that happens. All right. So kind of big news. I guess we'll see. We don't have too much information about Francis Ngannou. Now we're going to go to a kind of fun topic, which is next. Georgio Poullas, who's come to some fame and notoriety, at least in our world. Maybe he had his YouTube following, I guess, already. But he's come to some fame and notoriety in the world of MMA for all the stuff that he did against Arman Tsarukyan, very dirty tactics. And I'm not the one saying that. That's Bo Nickel saying that what do you expect? You did all that like dirty wrestling tactics. And then now, did you see, by the way, Bam Bam, about the lying and stuff? Okay, give me your thoughts on this guy, Georgio Poullas.
Yeah, to me, he just comes off as like super insincere. He comes off as like a little scumbag. I don't know his age, Josefa, but he really just seems like this new age of creator. You know what I mean? Like he's in it for clout. He's going to do whatever he can to kind of push his narrative, make himself seem like the cool, tough guy, which to me is kind of like surprising. I get that from like a wanting to convince kids to follow you perspective, but it's like you're in wrestling, which is already a tough world, and you're kind of transitioning into the world of fighting. Like nobody here is scared of you. Everybody that you're competing with or talking trash to will pull your card. And Arman Tsarukyan is the last guy on the planet. Like him and Khamzat Chimaev are down to fight in a hotel. They're down to fight in a restaurant. Like those guys are looking for it. So it's just the wrong guy. Georgio Poullas looked absolutely stupid. He made a fool of himself on Ariel Helwani. This whole take me down and get money thing, and then he's backing out of it. He's trying to claim a technicality that, Arman didn't win. We saw what we saw. You're a clown.
On top of that, what I just don't like, look, he said admittedly on Ariel's show, I want to fight people with a name. He's just purely interested in chasing clout. It is what it is. You're building a YouTube channel. I'm not going to like so hate on that mindset, but at what cost? Like you're just going to sabotage your reputation. You just want to lie to everybody. Like he said multiple lies about Chad Bronstein. Chad Bronstein told me they're potentially throwing out the match. Chad Bronstein was interviewed the next day. No, I never said that. He said that he actually didn't win. He won. Like, you know what I mean? All these different, and he said the other lies, like he's never been taken down. The lie in the ambulance where he put on the neck brace, like that was all fake. And he's like, no, it was protocol or something. Was it protocol or was it protocol or something? Like the guy is just completely annoyed and aggravated me. Like it's one thing when it's Colby, and Colby annoys me sometimes too because he goes way too hard in the paint and way too deep. But Colby, it's like he's just faking everything, right? Mm-hmm. With Georgio, it's like I don't know. Is he? I kind of just think he's a pathological liar, and like that's just gross to me. So I'm not trying to be a total jerk. I'm not trying to just like hate on people. I don't know him personally. And I know he lives in LA, never met him, don't really care to meet him. But it looks really, really bad to just be able to go out on a big channel like that and lie indiscriminately when people are going to like figure it out. I don't know. It's so weird.
You can do it to your followers, right? Like your followers are going to believe what you want them to believe. Like I got to assume his fan base obviously it's from the wrestling community, but it's probably mostly kids that are wrestling now, right? Like junior high, high school, maybe some college kids that think this guy's cool. They think the whole shtick is funny, and like those guys are going to believe you. But when you go on Ariel Helwani's show, that's being broadcast to the fight world. Like that's not just your fans, that is the fight fans who, for a lot of them, this is their first time seeing you, right?
Yes.
So he kind of made a jerk, like a douche of himself, a scumbag of himself. And I'm with you, Josefa, like 100%. I don't like him. I don't know him. I don't like him.
Now, I will say I'm interested in the rematch. So for whatever it is, he's become the heel. He's become the hated person just probably because that's who he is. And we got to see it and we don't like it. But it is building the hype for the Raf rematch. I wanted to see that grappling match so badly. But again, it's another example of Georgio saying he's going to do something and then not following through. So I guess we'll have to wait for Raf. You know what Chad Bronstein said is that the match is going to happen within the next 6 weeks, 6 weeks or less.
Yeah, I'm down.
And do it quickly. All right, let me read through a couple more comments. No Bromo MMA. Giorgio is a clown. He says, what's up to Meat Rocket? But what the F? Didn't they announce Armin bad Giorgio submission? Yeah, grappling. So, yeah, they announced it. And then 24 hours later, or no, less than that, 8 hours later, Giorgio pulled out and said he's not doing it and said he wants to do the rematch at RAF. All that talk. Yeah, bro, you could choke me out. Yeah, I'll even fight him in the UFC. Dude, it's all lies. The guy's totally full of crap. So don't believe anything that Giorgio says. Giorgio comes across as a con artist, snake. Oh, yeah, 100%. Exactly. Everybody can see right through it. He probably thought that he could fool people. You know, I have a theory about this. Tell me if you agree. Yeah. He's, like you said, he's probably like BS'd and lied to his audience and gotten away with it for a long time. And I think these type of people that are potentially pathological liars and narcissists, they get away with it. So he thought he was going to pull the same shenanigans on Ariel's show, but not realizing like so many people were going to see through it. Like, do you agree? Do you agree with that take?
Yeah, because when you're that kind of person, I don't know if he's a narcissist. Like I'm not one to, be able to diagnose that. But the whole point is like, yeah, I see through the BS. I know you do. It seems like a lot of people do. Again, to me, Josefa, it's more of just like coming into a world that you're not familiar with. Like, yes, he was a high school wrestler. Yes, he was a collegiate wrestler with a losing record, by the way. That needs to be thrown out there. But the wrestling community knows your BS. Like, so if part of your community thinks that, you coming into a new community that's already like a tough guy community, a very opinionated community, like you're going to get that. And I like that Ariel Helwani did what he did, which was double down and pull his card and like go after it. He made him look like a loser. And to me, he looked like Jake Paul when we see Jake Paul kind of waffling. You know what I mean? Like when somebody pulls his card, but at least Jake Paul has, whether you think it's real or not, at least he has something to fall back on. Well, I did beat, this guy and Anderson Silva and knocked out Woodley and blah, blah, blah. So I don't know, man. Georgio Poullas rubs me the wrong way, dude.
100%. Okay, we got a couple more comments and then we're going to get back to the topics. UFC. Okay, so here's AJ's response to my question to him. The UFC should not strip Tom for an injury. When the champ gets injured, you roll out an interim belt. And when the champ gets healthy, they fight the interim champ to unify. Well, they could do that. But the thing is, they historically actually have done this. Like, if you remember, I think Jamal Hill and Yuri Prohaska, if I'm not mistaken, both vacated their title when they didn't know the timeline for the return. Or the return was massively delayed. So, like, I don't see it being terrible. If Tom was like, hey, I'll be back in July for sure. Okay, maybe then. He has not said anything. Because he's still, whether it's all true or whether he continuing to play out the narrative, whatever you want to say is happening, he's not given a timeline of return. So I think it's actually not that crazy to strip him. Me Rocket says Poullas is seriously a douche. He looked dumb on Ariel's show. Yeah, 100%. You should watch out. Well, I made 2 videos. I made a second video. If you guys haven't seen it, on Georgio Poullas calling out all the lies that he said on Ariel with the back-to-back Chad Bronstein interview. So check that out. I never believed he was going to do that grappling match. Yeah, I guess I fell for it because I did believe it, but oh well. I reckon they will do Tom versus Francis boxing in the future. Yeah, I guess in 2031? Right. They might be doing that. Mr. Clapper says, Mr. Clapper actually thought he'd do the Armin grappling match. Let's effing go. Andrew Nance in the house. And if you guys could run up the likes right now, we'd really appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, for being on. And once again, we got Bam Bam from 10-7 MMA. So if you guys don't know, we got 2 10-7 MMAs we're doing. This is the second time we've done a 10-7 on 10-7 collab. So make sure to subscribe to the to 10-7 MMA. Actually, Western, could you throw in Dino's YouTube channel in the chat so people can click it and also subscribe. Okay, let's move along. Now, look at this. Topic number 4, and we're just getting to tomorrow's UFC event, UFC 326 main event, Charles Oliveira versus Max Holloway. Let me turn it over to you and get your thoughts, because I'd love to hear how you think this is going to go down.
Look, man, Josefa, this is a banger of a fight, dude. Like, if you are a fight fan, how much better can it possibly get than 2 certified legends of the sport, 2 Hall of Famers? These are like first ballot guys. You know what I mean? And a lot of people think the BMF belt is sort of finicky, and it's sort of like, you know, it's like a gimmick belt. Look, I get all that. At the end of the day, we're getting Max Holloway versus Charles Oliveira. And to me, that's unbelievable. I love this fight. I love it at this stage in both of their careers. They are both maybe one fight away from getting a potential title shot at 55. You have to wonder what's going to happen with Ilia Topuria. Is the White House thing happening with him? And I guess we'll find out tomorrow. So we don't need to wait very long to see what's going on with that. Look, man, I love the fight. I think it's risky for both guys. There's danger in it. Max Holloway has looked so dangerous since moving up to 45. He seems to have so much more power. He's sitting on his shots better. The cardio, as always, looks great. The durability looks great at 55. Man, we saw him put Justin Gaethje out flat, right? And you weren't really seeing that at 45. Yes, we saw it with Zombie towards the end. But again, that's towards the end. That was Zombie towards the end of his career. We see him put out Gaethje. We see him put down Dustin Poirier. He looks really powerful and really big at 55. And then Charles Oliveira is an absolute legend of the division. A guy with scary power himself. Pound for pound, I might say he has more power than Max Holloway does on the feet. But he's not quite a technical striker, the level of Max. So there are those holes in Charles Oliveira's game. He's always been slightly chinny, in my opinion. So I worry about that. In terms of a prediction, this might sound crazy. I think Charles Oliveira can win this fight, Josefa, so long as he follows the recipe and the route that he needs to go, which is grapple. If he goes out there thinking this is a BMF fight, I want to give the crowd a BMF fight, I want to have this moment, I want to beat Max at his game, I don't think it works out for him 9 out of 10 times. But if he mixes everything up and he's taking Max to the ground, he wins this fight. He is better on the ground. He's more dangerous on the ground. The official 10-7 MMA pick, our 10-7 MMA pick, where me and Dino have to combine and agree on one, is Max Holloway. Oh. But this is one where we're split. I'm actually picking Charles Oliveira individually. So that's my guy, man. I love Charles. I love Max. I think Charles Oliveira gets it done. He wants to do it in front of his family. This is going to be sick. I also love the opportunity of either one of them fighting for the belt again. More so Max than Charles, to be honest with you. But I would love to see an Arman Sarukian fight for the BMF against one of these guys.
I said that too. But I don't know if that's going to happen now. That I've heard like Conor wants to fight for the BMF. I don't know what's going on, but that was what I originally thought. Although Arman Sarukian did say he had a great talk with Hunter Campbell, and he could either fight for the BMF against the winner, which hopefully would be Max, so it's a fresh matchup, or he could wait till I think September, October to challenge for the winner of the undisputed title. Okay, I want to go back to something you said before about the BMF, and then I'm going to give you my breakdown. And guys, I see all the comments. I'm going to read through them in 1 second, but when it comes to the BMF belt, yes, it gets a lot of hate. But let me tell you my take on it, because I don't hate it as much. I don't actually hate it. I actually like it, and I think it serves a purpose. What the BMF belt is to me is it's the most popular fighter belt. It's kind of like it's who are the fan favorites in the sports, or who's the most valuable or most, you know what I mean? And so I think it actually does have a meaning. Who do they give it to? Or who do they let people challenge for it? They let Jorge Masvidal, who's one of the most popular fighters in the game, Nate Diaz, most popular fighter, Justin Gaethje, Max Holloway. Now we have Charles Oliveira, one of the most beloved fighters. We have 2 people that are super, super beloved. So I actually think it has a place to spice up performances for fighters that give it their all and are beloved by the fans. Okay, and hold on, before I see tons of comments in the chat, so let me just read through some of these, and then I'm going to talk about my thoughts on this fight, because I know Justin actually did pick Max Holloway, and I've been really on the fence about it. But let me go through that in 1 second. And Western did post your link, so guys, make sure to subscribe to 10-7. Our other 10-7 here in the mix. Meat Rocket says he's going Charles by submission. That's a great call, actually. Western says he's got Charles too. Wow, I think Tehran's got Charles, if I'm not mistaken, as well. Max KO. Andrew Nance says, let's go Meat Rocket. While I agree Holloway will be better striker, it's something Oliveira could do on the feet that's using his calf kicks and teep kicks to disrupt Holloway's rhythm. Interesting. See, I really like that technical analysis, Tehran. Thank you. Max doesn't have that crazy KO power to finish Charles like that. I mean, maybe not. He's done some crazy damage in the lightweight division. He's clearly gotten bigger and stronger, so I don't know. Max by KO. Ask Justin. Exactly. And Andrew Nance says, ask Justin Gaethje. Feel like Charles will get dropped, but survive. This is what I think. Okay, so we're gonna come back to what Meat Rocket says here. This is kind of what I think is gonna happen, and what Charles is gonna be able to do. Yeah, or Charles can press Max into the fence and clinch, that nice Muay Thai clinch. All right, sorry, we got tons. I just want to make sure everybody is heard here. Bro Nance, that was a last second KO after 5 rounds. Max barely even TKOs dudes. Yeah, but he's a different fighter at lightweight. So I don't know if we can still stick with that same old narrative. From what I heard, UFC wants Conor to fight. Yeah, that's what I've been hearing as well. So maybe it'll just be Arman waits out to get the next title fight, which I'm totally fine with. I cannot wait to see Arman fight for the title. LOL Meaty, don't get in your feelings. Andrew Nance says Arman doesn't fit that BMF category. Yes, he does. What? You don't think Arman fits the BMF category? Dude, he's so popular right now, right? Don't you agree, Bam Bam?
1000%. I saw Fight Society say the same thing, though. He was like, he's not a BMF to me. It's like, dude, how much more BMF does it get? This guy's fighting on the streets like daily.
I mean, like, I maybe would have agreed with you like a year ago or something when he didn't have that much fan support, but I disagree now. I think, and he said, Hunter Campbell said he gave him that option. So clearly,
I get, like, if I ever post anything Arman Sarukian related on Instagram, our DMs blow up and it gets like thousands and thousands of views, like more than any other fighter. It's crazy, dude. So like there is support for Arman Sarukian. He's popular.
Massively. Wait, Tyler Betts is in the house. He said sup. He says casual call. Wait, what's the call that I made that was casual? Let me know. Tell me. Okay. And then Meat Rocket says Tyler Betts told me to put everything on Brundage. Let's go. Sup, Tyler. The Brundage Express. Cody and under 30. Yeah, there you go. Sup, Andrew. And he doesn't fight like a BMF. What? Wait, Tehran, come on, dog. What? You didn't think he fought like a BMF against Dan Hooker? That fight was sick. He smashed him with body kicks. Like, I thought Arman striking looked better than Dan Hooker's. I don't know. Bam Bam, you agree or disagree?
I'm with you more than Tehran Brown on this one. I get it, though. Like, you think BMF, you think like a stand-up fighter, right? Like just a full-on striker. Arman is going to take the fight to the ground, but so is Charles Oliveira. So like by that same, you know what I mean? That same method, why not?
Yeah, I agree. I'm doing all Cody parlay, bro. Okay, Delight Triple C. All right, got through a bunch of comments. Now, let me give you my thoughts on this fight. I was saying from the get-go that I was picking Charles Oliveira. Again, for all the reasons you said, he's just a more diverse fighter. He's got the most submissions in the UFC, I believe, still. So crazy threat. And then what he's done with guys traditionally that don't have a crazy ground game is he has a reset button. It happened against, I think, Justin Gaethje and Dustin Poirier, if I'm not mistaken, where he falls down, and Chandler too. He falls down and he sits there and he waits until he can reset. Obviously, it's not going to work against Islam, but for most people, he has the advantage there. So he can have that reset button, even if he gets tagged and wobbled. Ilia Topuria, on the other hand, has a tremendous ground game, wasn't afraid to go down with him. But I think Max, it's going to be a different story. So that's why. And plus, dude, I love Charles's striking because to me, as a Muay Thai practitioner, I watch his striking. I'm like, dude, he looks like he grew up in Thailand. His Muay Thai looks so good. So I was thinking like he's going to have the more well-rounded toolkit. He's been at the top. Like I just thought he was going to get the job done. Justin, though, has kind of swayed me, and I've listened to a lot of people that have made me really be on the fence and maybe made me lean a little bit more in Holloway's direction, because what they're basically saying is Max Holloway, he's so slick and so tricky on the feet, not to mention his boxing, but also we saw a spin kick against Justin Gaethje that did some great damage. So and he's like on a tear. I feel like he's hungry. He's never had the lightweight title. Those could be other factors as well. So I'm really, really split down the middle, but I think Justin got me to slightly switch my pick. And I hate to say it because I love Charles Oliveira, but like, if you're making me put money on this fight, God, I think think I would go Holloway, but it's like razor close.
If you are going to put money on this fight and it is that razor close, why not go the underdog? You know what I mean?
True. That's fair.
Look, man, I get it. Max is on fire. He's on a roll. He's cracking people. But also, like, these are people that are not even thinking about taking him down. Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier, like, there is no threat of a takedown, even though Poirier subbed him the last time they fought years and years ago. But, like, Charles Oliveira, if he gets you in that clinch, he's looking to take you down. Max is tough to take down. But if we get Charles Oliveira on top of Max Holloway in the middle of the cage, now what?
That would be wild if that happens. I like, and the beauty of this fight, it's like happy and sad, right? You love both guys, so you don't want to see either guy lose. That's kind of the downside. But, and the upside is whoever wins, it's going to be great. It's going to be a celebration. And however it happens will be incredible. If Oliveira can get a crazy submission and add to a submission record, that would be absolutely insane. We got a couple more comments here. AJ says, Arman looked like he deserves the next title shot when he fought Hooker. 100%, dude. He looked like it before. But yeah, let's effing go. Max, if Charles gets Holloway hurt, he won't let him recover. He will swarm him. Yeah, for sure. That will for sure happen. I absolutely agree. The question is, and this is what people are saying, is the question is, will he be able to get him hurt? Will he be able to tag him effectively enough and accurately enough to actually get him wobbled where he can do some damage on the ground? Me Rocket says, I like Max, but I think Charles gets it done. People are counting him out. Could be, very well could be. Tyler Betts saying Volk. I don't know. And then Meat Rocket says, Gaethje said himself, Charles hits harder. Look who it is. MMA Joey, dude, thank you so much for joining today. MMA Joey in the house. Let's go. Yeah, so we're just chopping it up about Charles Oliveira versus Max Holloway. So I think we can close this topic out. I think, and I hate to do it, but I think I think I'm going to lean slightly towards Holloway. Bam Bam's going the other direction, Oliveira, and we shall see tomorrow. Okay, now we got another really, really fun fight that I want to talk about. Caio Borralho versus Reinier, Reinier de Ridder. And we got a very interesting matchup, especially when it comes to the grappling side. I think Caio was like talking smack to him at the presser, saying like, yeah, I know you're going to shoot and try and take me down. I think it's a bad idea. Bam Bam, let me just straight up turn it over to you. I'd love to hear your take and your thoughts on this matchup and how you think it's going to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, first of all, shout out MMA Joey in the chat. I know a very controversial figure. He's very controversial in this space, but I like Joey for the most part. So look, Caio Borralho RDR. I think it's an interesting fight, man. These are two guys that were so close to the title, and they both had miserable performances last time out, like shameful, miserable performances, right? I don't like to judge a fighter based off of their last fight, but it's hard not to do that with these guys because Caio Borralho, he looked absolutely terrible against Nasruddin Imavov. But there's one thing that I can take away from that, and that's the fact that he didn't quit. How do you pick a guy in RDR that quit last time out? Like, he literally didn't make it out of his corner. He gave up, right? So RDR was always a guy that I didn't believe in, even when he was in one championship as their double champion, when he was losing to Anatoly Malkin. I was like, this guy's not going to make it in the UFC. But then he came here, proved me wrong. And just the moment, Huzefa, where I started believing in him, he puts out that performance. Look, I'm going to be rooting for RDR. I did not like the way that Caio Borralho was acting yesterday. He was like trying to make something out of nothing, trying to sell their fight, and I get that, but to me it was corny. The whole is it Derrida or Dequita? Like, I thought that was so stupid. Thought that was super corny. I have to pick Caio Borralho just due to the fact that I saw what I saw out of RDR last time out, but I'm rooting for him. I'm rooting for Reinier de Ridder.
Okay, let me tell you some things. I don't know if you heard this or not, but I wonder if this might change your mind. So for RDR, the reason why he quit on the stool, according to him, is that he was having a lot of trouble with his body and his training and all that stuff. And then he basically his body fell apart. He did like 5 training camps in a year, which is insane. I heard Daniel Cormier today on the morning weigh-in show say like, look, at the end of the day, the most you should do is 2, maybe 3 training camps a year. And he did 5. And that's why he wore himself down. And then RDR said he's had a lot of doctors look at him. He's done a lot of work, and he's actually gotten himself not only back, but just back to a place where he's feeling better than ever. He said that he's been doing so good and feeling so good. And I know fighters say this all the time. But he said he's been feeling so good and having so many amazing sessions that has brought him to tears on multiple occasions in his training camp leading up to this fight. Does any of that sway you in the other direction to pick RDR?
No, because to me, I don't know if that's real or just a typical excuse that we hear from fighters, right? I'd like to believe it. Again, I think I like him more than I like Caio Borralho as a fighter, so I'm rooting for him. I hope that's true. But that's called like that's a fight, right? That's what happens. Your body breaks down, you get tired, you get hurt. And if you're a real fighter, you're a good fighter, you go through it. I'm not sitting here saying that I would be able to. I'm just saying that's part of fighting, man. Deal with it, get back in the cage. He was dominating Brendan Allen, dominating him. And then just like that, a switch turned. Like, it's hard, man. It's very difficult to pick this guy. Again, I hope he wins just because, Caio Borralho rubbing me the wrong way. But Caio Borralho is a well-rounded fighter, right? That term gets thrown around a lot in MMA breakdowns. Like, this guy's well-rounded and this guy's well-rounded. No, like, Caio Borralho is the definition of well-rounded. He is, like, pretty damn good at most things. There's nothing where he really stands out, but he's got good power. He's got good cardio. He's got good movement. He's good on the feet. He's good on the ground. All that. RDR has glaring holes in his MMA game, right? He's good in the clinch. He's really good on the ground. He's dangerous with the submissions. The striking is awkward. The cardio looks terrible. There is the quitting issue. So for that reason, I got to pick Caio. I just don't believe RDR.
I'll say a couple things on Caio Borralho as well, which I think are very impressive. Yeah, he's super well-rounded. Also, he did, prior to the Mavo fight, he did a weight cut as a backup fighter like 4 weeks before. So I think that impacted him in the Mavo fight. The thing I like about Caio and the entire Fighting Nerds team is they're very technical and analytical. You know, in the presser, he did say, yeah, I know you're going to shoot on me because I studied your tape. And that's what we do as Fighting Nerds. I go by the numbers. I don't go by a feeling. And I know you always shoot in every fight within the first like 45 seconds, something like that. So I like the analytics that he uses and the team effort of them all kind of sitting down and brainstorming together. That being said, I'm picking with my heart here. I really like RDR. I'm actually a really big fan of his. I was shocked at what happened against Brendan Allen. I do think it can. I'm hoping it can be explained, knock on wood, by doing 5 fights in a year. I mean, something kind of similar happened to Merab, not exactly, but kind of similar. And I just want to see RDR because I don't know. I think he's cool. I like his fight style. I think he's gritty. I like the awkward fighters, him and DDP. Like they're fun to me. And I think they can throw a wrench in the tire. So I'm going with RDR. So we'll agree to disagree. I got a bunch of comments I have to read through. So let me rip a couple of these and we'll go to our final topic, which is going to be a very fun hypothetical game here. The Punisher. Welcome. MMA Joey. No wonder you are a Joey fanboy. Bad takes. Well, I mean, you know, okay, we'll just agree to disagree. But hey, anyways, Caio by TKO round 2. Thank you, anyways, for joining. Hey, Meat Rocket, what's up? And Andrew Nance says, haha. Mr. Clapper says, I can't stand the Fighting Nerds, but I think he's going to win. Okay, interesting. So another guy with Caio Borralho. Vex, what's up? Welcome to the show, bro. At the moment, no Bromo community, and then 10-7 community is a synonym. LOL. Let's go. Vex, what up, guys? MMA Joey, the at Punisher Caio sucks. The real MMA Joey. Yeah, somebody said, Western said this isn't the real MMA Joey.
It's not. I thought it was too. But Joey hops in sometimes on your chat, my chat. So
yeah, that's why I thought it was legit. But I see the D at the end, so it may not be the real one. Right? We got an imposter. I'll take it. Tyler Bet says, Punisher, what's up? He said, and Punisher says, yo, Vex, bromosexuals taking over. That's right. Vex, the Punisher. Hell yeah, brother. Punisher, MMA Joey, he does suck, but against RDR, I don't know. Me Rocket Tyler, he was fighting a heavyweight monster Russian national wrestling championship in Malikan. I don't know what that is. If that's
Anatoly Malkin, that was RDR's opponent. That was the guy that took both of his belts.
Oh, got you. Okay. Yeah. Vex says, I'm picking RDR since it's a 3-rounder. Let's go RDR. Punisher, how art thou? And then I reckon Caio gets a finish round 2 or 3. Okay, a lot of back and forth on this one. Okay, let's see if we got any other ones. Caio's not a finisher, though. He has like 70% decision rate in the UFC. Oh, I didn't know that was his rate. And we got somebody new in the mix. I'm not going to read that name, but pretty funny. I think he's been in the mix before. What's up? Hello, everyone. What's up, Yuri? We'll just go with the first name. Okay, now the fun time. And I'm actually really glad you're here today because this is a topic that Justin hates with a passion and he gets mad every time I bring it up. But we got 1 day left to talk about it. Let's have some fun. The White House card is being announced tomorrow night. My guess it's going to be announced right after the prelims, right before the main event. I think when it's still going to be broadcast on CBS, so they're going to make a big splash. Yeah. I don't know if Trump's going to be a part of it. I have no idea, but they're going to make the announcement. And I know people are sick of it. I heard Submission Radio saying they're tired of talking about it. I'm the opposite, man. This fight has got me so excited. This card has got me so stoked. Dana White said there's either going to be 6 or 7 fights on Pierce Morgan the other night. Let me turn it over to you. Give me your thoughts. Like, what do you, let's have some fun. What do you think is going to show up here?
Yeah. I like the UFC White House card, man. I think it's a good thing to have. I like this whole like yearly one spectacle show, right? Obviously they're, 200, 300, those are different. Like those are just different. And those are the best, the anniversary shows. But I like the Sphere a lot, man. I think the idea of the White House is cool. Take politics out of it. I know that's a hot topic right now with what's going on in the world, but forget that. Cool locations. I'm all for it. What do I think we see in terms of fights? One thing that I'm pretty certain we will see, so long as the fighter is healthy, is Kayla Harrison versus Amanda Nunes. I think that's almost a guarantee, so long as Kayla Harrison's healthy, right? Do you agree?
100%. Absolutely.
Yeah. Gold medalist, or, she's an Olympic gold medalist for the USA. Like, obviously, she's the only American champ in the entire promotion. So Kayla Harrison, Amanda Nunes, massive fight, fits at the White House as a co-main or a feature. The Conor McGregor thing, I don't know. I just don't believe it. I've been adamant that Conor McGregor will not fight for a long time now, so I just don't know that Conor happens. If he does, I can't even imagine who his opponent would be if it's not Mike Chandler, right? So there's that. Main event, John Jones, Alex Pereira makes a lot of sense to me. You have to have an American in the main event. John Jones is the best American of all time in MMA. The Alex Pereira matchup makes so much sense. Alex Pereira gets his opportunity not only against John Jones, which is massive, not only for his 3rd belt, which would be absolutely massive, but at the White House on CBS in front of the world. Like, that's unbelievable. I love that fight. Besides that, man, your guess is as good as mine, Josefa, because Strickland doesn't want to do it. Henry Cejudo said he's not fighting anymore. I thought that would be a cool guy to get on there, an Olympic gold medalist for the States. Bryce Mitchell doesn't want to do it. He's kind of losing his mind on Instagram. I don't know. You tell me. What do you think?
By the way, let me first come back to what you said about John Jones versus Alex Pereira, because I want to gloat just a tiny bit. I've been saying that since like last summer, that's the fight to make, even before Tom vacated the belt, or not, sorry, what am I saying? He hasn't vacated yet, but even before Tom got the eye injury and all this like craziness happened, I said that they could fight each other for like the GOAT belt, like they'd make up a title, because whoever wins in this fight, you have to remember, it is Alex Pereira moving up, already a double champ. And yeah, we can't say Alex Pereira is the GOAT right now, but if he beats the GOAT, there's a strong argument that you could say now he is the greatest fighter of all time, because he's the only person to legitimately beat John Jones. Conversely, John Jones is considered the GOAT right now. If he beats Alex Pereira, a double champ, one of the most prolific stars in the history of the UFC, his legacy is cemented, and he walks off into the sunset as the greatest fighter of all time. So this has a lot of appeal from that perspective of, we will have a definitive answer of who is the greatest fighter of all time. And I don't think we've ever had that being decided by one fight ever. So this is a big deal, and I really think it's great. Now we have the icing on the cake. Hate to say that because it's due to Tom Aspinall getting the injury and all that, but like the fact that Tom is basically sidelined right now, they can strip him, and they can also make it for an undisputed title. So this, I just think, has to be the answer. And I became convinced of it when the White House came out and said they had a problem with Justin Gaethje fighting because he's likely going to lose. I'm like, it's going to be John Jones then. This is what I thought the whole time. So just a little bit of gloating there. Okay, now 100% agree with you. Kayla Harrison versus Amanda Nunes. I thought that it might be cool for Khamzat versus Strickland, because I think that's such a massive fight. I actually think that fight's happening in May. I don't know if you have any thoughts on this, but the reason why is because Arman Sarukian already said that Khamzat is back in California in training camp. That's why he comes to California. That's why he goes to Huntington Beach to train at the Jackson, at Jackson, where they do the Jackson podcast. He's already in training camp. Like, he's fighting sooner than the White House, let's say, and he's been there since February. So I think they've already offered him a fight against Sean Strickland in May. So I don't think that's going to be at the White House. Now, here's an interesting one. And I wasn't thinking that this was even possible, but I do think there is a small chance, this is crazy, okay, that there's a small chance that we may get Ilia Topuria versus Islam Makhachev. Now, just hear me out, and I want to hear your take on this, because I haven't been a huge fan of this fight. I think that Islam's going to smash Ilia Topuria, and I think Ilia is like really small to come up to welterweight. Like, imagine Ilia versus Michael Morales. Like, it's insane. But Ali Abdelaziz, so Ian Gary came out and said Islam wants more time and he won't be able to fight him or whatever, and he's basically not doing that. Then we heard Michael Morales, some reporter in I don't know where, was basically saying on UFC, like Spanish UFC, that it's going to be Michael Morales versus Islam Makhachev. Then Ali Abdelaziz came out and said, no, it's not going to be that. He said fake news. He also said it's going to be a big announcement. What do you think? Let me hear your take. Do you think there's any possibility that they're also going to slap this fight on the White House card?
Look, I think it's possible that that's a fight that they do make, Huzefa. It cannot be on the White House card, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah. To me, at least personally, it just doesn't make sense. You have such a massive fight that doesn't need any sort of gimmick or anything like that. Like, it could stand alone. Not that John Jones and Alex Pereira couldn't, but it's the biggest fight. It's the one that everyone's asking for. And then how are they not the main event, right? Like, if they are the main event over John Jones and Pereira, that seems weird. But if they are the main event there, you're going to have a Spanish guy versus a Russian Muslim guy at the White House. Like, to me, that doesn't make too much sense. I don't think Trump would go for it, to be honest with you, just from like a political, like, just the way he looks, you know what I mean? So it doesn't make too much sense to me. In terms of the fight itself, if they do make it, I'm all for it. Like, give Ilia Topuria the thing he wants. I think he deserves it at this point. I love the fight for Topuria at 55. I hate it for him at 170. I think at 55, it is a coin flip fight, and it could be the time we actually see Islam Makhachev lose. At 170, you're right. He's way too small for 170.
I actually, and if it does happen, I 100% think it's co-main. I don't think it's main event. I think we got John Jones, Alex Pereira all day long because of what Trump has said and different things like that. So absolutely, it wouldn't be main event, but I do think there's a possibility it would be co-main. And then I'm trying to think if there's any other, like,
you don't think that's too big for a co-main?
If they're trying, it normally 100%. Normally, absolutely, it's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous co-main event. Sure. It's like the biggest fight, one of the biggest fights, if not the biggest fight, arguably the UFC could make. I think the reason why it would only be co-main in this particular case, because it's the 250th anniversary White House card and John Jones's final fight, Alex Pereira's chance to get triple champ status. Like, I guess it would be for Ilia too, but like all of that together, it would be crazy. So I don't know. You might be right though. It might just be too big and too much to also add on to this card. My only thought would be like, my only thoughts were, why is Ali saying this? And then if you add it on there, holy smokes, the MMA world would explode. Like, can you imagine Ilia versus Islam? Even though I'm not like the craziest fan of that, but like I would love it and I would watch it. Like, don't get me wrong. And then John Jones versus Alex Pereira, like that's almost too much to process. There's no event like that. Yeah,
that's too much. I'd be so uncomfortable, dude. Like, I'd be so uncomfortable sitting there and watching that.
Okay, so last thing before we close out, I'm just going to quickly take a look at the UFC rankings here. We'll both actually, let's both look at this together and let's see if we can think of any other fights that might be there, and then we're going to close it out. I actually have to get to weigh-ins pretty soon for this Fusion Fight League. Oops, wrong thing here. For this Fusion Fight League event that is happening tomorrow, and Justin actually just landed. He's texting us here, but let's take a look at the rankings really quickly, and we'll just have some fun as we close out the show. And by the way, let's thank Bam Bam for joining us today. This was so awesome. Really appreciate it. And thank you everybody for joining and participating. You know, as the numbers have been going up for these streams, like I've said many, many times, you guys are what make this community. You guys are what make this a fun place for me, Justin, everybody else who is a guest on our show, where we can have a fun dialogue about the sport that we love so much, because this is the only time we get to do it. And it's just such a pleasure and such a joy. So I'm looking over here, right? I mean, I don't see them put, maybe they could put, Joshua Van, we already got that set up. What am I saying? So that's out. Piotr Jan's, like I could see Piotr Jan versus Sean O'Malley potentially being on there. What do you think about that? Do you think that will show up?
No, Piotr Jan's not ready to go, right? He had surgery not too long ago, so he's saying more like mid-end summer. I think it's a missed opportunity if you don't put Sean O'Malley on that card. I love what Corey Sandhagen's been doing, calling out Sean O'Malley. That would be such a huge fan service fight. I would love for that to be on the White House. You guarantee an American winner if you have those two fight each other. So I don't mind that at all. I would love to see O'Malley and Sandhagen on that card.
Okay, that would be a great call. I would like that for sure.
Peyton Talbot.
Oh, I would love that. But if they're only having 6, I would look. Yeah, Peyton Talbot's. I love Peyton Talbot. I think he's incredible. I just don't know if they would do that if they're only if they had a full thing and they could put him earlier on the early prelims or prelims. Absolutely, 1,000%. I just don't know. And we already talked about Hamzat, even though obviously he's the biggest star in my mind. I just don't think he's going to make it. And I guess we'll see, Islam. And who the heck would Islam fight at this point if it's not Ian Machado Gary or Michael Morales? So, it's a mystery. It's a mystery, guys. But guess what? The mystery ends tomorrow night.
Yes.
So that's all we got for you guys today. Thank you so much, Western. Here, let me read through a couple more comments and we're going to close out. Bro, Ilya needs to defend his 155 title. Hey, look, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just trying to predict. Again, I'm just trying to get in the mindset of the UFC. I know, we all get upset with the meritocracy stuff and this and that, but I'm just trying to imagine, hey, if they want to blow this out to be the biggest fight of all, the biggest card of all time, that would kind of do it. Tyler says, testing, mic check 6'7". He loves that 6'7". You don't have the Chihuihuis to go, Western. Not sure what Tyler Betts is saying. Wanderlei Silva at the White House. Let's go. And Western says, great show. And Me Rocket says, great show, gents. Thank you. And Tyler Betts, where will I see you next? Are you talking to us or Dino or Bam Bam? Let us know. M.A. Joey, Strickland, Kobe. Bo Nickel. I'd love to see Bo Nickel on that card. I won't lie. Bo Nickel would be good. Is Kobe going to really be on there? Bo Nickel just came out and said Kobe turned down the fight against him.
Yeah.
I would have loved Kobe versus Bo Nickel, but I don't know.
I get it. I knew Colby wouldn't accept that fight. What I've been predicting for a long time, Huzefa, and now I'm worried that it's not going to be on there. I thought a really cool one would be Colby Covington versus George Masvidal. Those are two guys that they're both Trump guys. They were both on the campaign trail with them. Yeah. And they could fight for a Trump's favorite fighter belt or something like that. Also, Derek Lewis. I think Derek Lewis will be on there.
You do still, even after his last loss?
Yeah. Why not?
Wow. Okay.
Trump likes him.
I love the Jorge Masvidal rematch versus Colby Covington. That's lit. That would be cool. They'd be going at it at the presser once again. Okay, well, that's all we got, guys. Okay, one last comment I'm going to read from AJ, and then we're going to close out. Yeah, Jan said he would be ready for White House, and he wants a card in the Red Square as well. LOL, he said that they probably wouldn't want him at the White House. Oh, okay, well, either way, we're going to close out. Thank you guys so much for joining. Happy Friday, everybody. This was a blast, and once again, Dino, want to thank you for joining at the we got to give props to Dino. Justin realized a little late that his flight was incorrect and that he was going to miss today's show. So we scrambled a little bit and reached out. I said, hey, let's reach out to Dino and see if they could jump in. And dude, he agreed on 2 hours notice. So I am so thankful for you being here. I really appreciate it. And it's so much fun. And dude, like I said, I mean, if you want, obviously, but we, not trying to push, but we would absolutely love to be on your guys' show at some point if you guys would be open to that. So let us know, and we will join you guys as well.
Always open, Huzefa. I will tell you, we do a weekly thing now, a new thing that we're doing. Saturday, 2 hours before the start of the cards, 2 hours before the prelims. Everyone does their watch-alongs, right? Everyone does the fight companions.
Yes.
We're the only people doing a pre-show. And that's open to any content creator that wants to come on. We've had some cool people join us. By all means, if you're available, come through. For the rest of you guys, if you're looking for something to do, come watch.
I would that's such a great idea, because I don't do the watch alongs for that same reason. I actually come and make a video right after the fights when I can. I would love to do that. Maybe the problem is we have Fusion Fight League tomorrow, so we got to get to the arena early, but another time. Oh, that's so good. Okay. Anyways, that's all we got for you guys today. Thank you so much for joining. We'll see you in the next video. Take it easy.